He was the man whose eyes could freeze a room. On screen, Laurence Harvey carried a calm so sharp it felt dangerous, as if he knew something the audience never would. In films like The Manchurian Candidate, that coldness became his signature, a mask that gave him power. Yet behind the glassy stare, there was a contradiction no one could decipher. Why did he drift in and out of Hollywood without warning? Why did those close to him say they never truly knew him? And why does his final photograph, taken in a quiet hospital room, feel like a message waiting to be understood? Every glow of fame casts a shadow. His was darker than anyone realized. Laurence Harvey was not born into the world that later claimed him. Emerging from a childhood shaped by displacement and the quiet ache of starting over in a foreign land, he carried an intensity that set him apart long before cameras ever found him. When he stepped onto the British stage, that intensity hardened into something magnetic. Audiences couldn't look away. Directors couldn't quite understand him, but they knew he was different. His rise was swift. Room at the top turned him into a sensation. A performer who didn't seek affection yet commanded it effortlessly. Hollywood followed soon after, drawn to the mystery in his gaze, the silence between his breaths, the sense that he belonged to no one. He became the embodiment of a new kind of leading man, sharp, distant, enigmatic, a star who didn't shine brightly so much as burn quietly. To many, he appeared untouchable, a figure carved from elegance and restraint, but beneath that crafted composure lived a story even his closest collaborators never fully saw. Before the world knew his name, Laurence Harvey was simply a boy learning how to survive the weight of uncertainty. Born in Lithuania and uprooted by the tides of conflict, he grew up with the uneasy knowledge that life could change without warning. His family's move to South Africa marked another beginning, but not one filled with comfort. The distance from his birthplace, the struggle to adapt, and the feeling of never fully belonging carved a quiet resolve inside him. Those who knew him as a teenager described him as observant, guarded, a young man who watched more than he spoke. It was this inner stillness that drew him toward acting. The stage offered something he had never possessed, a place where he could choose who he became. Each role was a shelter, a chance to step into a life untouched by the instability he carried. What began as an escape soon became a calling. His early instructors sensed a surprising depth in him, a complexity that didn't come from training but from living. Acting didn't just give Laurence Harvey a voice, it gave him a way to hide the parts he wasn't ready to face. And in that concealment, a star quietly began to form. When Laurence Harvey stepped into the spotlight, his ascent felt almost inevitable. His presence was unlike anything audiences had seen. A cool detachment wrapped around a simmering intensity. Directors found him extraordinary. Co-stars found him unreadable. And the public, drawn to his precision and elegance, elevated him with a speed that left even Hollywood unprepared. But the glow came with a cost he rarely allowed anyone to see. Fame sharpened the distance he had carried since childhood. The more people admired him, the more he retreated behind the finely built facade that had become his refuge. On set, he worked with relentless focus, pushing himself to maintain the image of the controlled, immaculate leading man, yet that same control isolated him. Interviews felt suffocating. Crowds drained him. Expectations swelled until the persona he wore on screen began to follow him everywhere, blurring into his real life. Relationships faltered under the weight of his guardedness. Friends recalled moments when he seemed present but unreachable, as if his thoughts were trapped behind a wall no one could climb. Even success offered little comfort. In the height of his acclaim, when others might have celebrated, Harvey often disappeared into silence, carrying pressures he never named. Fame had found him, but in return, it quietly asked for pieces of himself he could never restore. As Laurence Harvey's career reached its peak, the distance between the man the world admired and the man he truly was grew impossibly wide. He delivered one critically acclaimed performance after another, each role steeped in that unmistakable coolness that had become his trademark. But privately, the weight of maintaining that image had begun to erode him. There were stretches of time when he vanished from film sets without explanation, moments when even those closest to him couldn't say where he had gone or what he was fighting against. Whispers spread through the industry, not about scandal but about absence. His intensity on screen did not fade, yet off-screen, he moved through life with a heaviness that contradicted his polished exterior. Some colleagues recalled brief flashes of vulnerability, the kind that faded as quickly as they appeared. Others spoke of sudden mood shifts, of days when he seemed consumed by a storm no one else could see. Eventually, fragments of truth surfaced. Harvey had spent time in a discreet treatment facility, shielded from public view, navigating a battle within himself that the world would never fully understand. These experiences did not break him, but they left traces, subtle fractures behind the mask, quiet reminders that even brilliance can carry a hidden cost. When the pace of his career finally slowed, Laurence Harvey faced a reality he could no longer outrun. The years of internal strain had left him fragile in ways the public never saw. Those who visited him during this period described a man who moved more gently, who spoke with a softness that contrasted sharply with the icy personas he once portrayed. It was during these quieter years that his health began to decline. A shift he acknowledged not with fear, but with a kind of resigned clarity. He continued to work when he could, though each appearance carried a shadow of the battle unfolding within him. His passing came too soon, leaving colleagues and admirers stunned. The world mourned the loss of a performer whose presence had reshaped the screen, yet few understood the depth of the struggles he carried. In the wake of his departure, his legacy grew in unexpected ways. His daughter, Domino Harvey, would later walk a path marked by the same intensity, the same turbulence, becoming a figure whose life echoed her father's complexity. Today, Laurence Harvey's influence survives not only through his films but through the questions he left behind. His story endures as a reminder that brilliance often exists beside a silence the world never hears. Laurence Harvey's story is one of contrasts, a life shaped by the sharp divide between the man the world believed him to be and the quiet, complex soul he carried within. On screen, he appeared unbreakable, a figure of precision and control, a performer whose cold elegance became iconic. Yet beyond the frame lived a man searching for balance, carrying memories of displacement, private battles, and a longing for a peace he rarely found. His journey reminds us that fame can illuminate someone so brightly it becomes impossible to see the shadows forming at their feet. As we look back, his films endure, not only because of his talent, but because of the mystery he left behind, the sense that there was always more beneath the surface. What part of his story stays with you the most? What do you think he wanted the world to understand but never said aloud? Share your thoughts. And if you want to explore more lives shaped by brilliance and secrecy, follow the journey with us.